Congratulations, season 2 of the Drew Barrymore Show. How excited are you? We're here in LA.
Well, I'm relieved, actually, which
Yeah.
is like, for me, such an underrated emotion. We didn't know if we were really going to get this show. We had to audition for it, and it took months to find out if it was really going to go.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic started, and it was very understandable that it might not go.
Yeah.
Then it did. Then we waited the whole time to find out if we were going to have season 2. So, this show has kept me on my toes, humble, grateful, and I'm really excited that we got to this point.
You got to this point. You're kicking things off with Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
How excited are you to have her for this first episode of the new season?
Well, I think Jennifer Aniston is like talk show royalty.
Yeah.
But I think Jennifer Aniston is also someone that we could watch her watch paint dry. Like everything she does, we all want to fawn over and stare.
Yeah.
I also think that she's someone who has brought us a very long board of work that is extraordinary and delicious, and she's kept us entertained for all these years, and to have that kind of longevity really speaks volumes about someone.
Yeah.
And then just as a human, I find her so fascinating because she has all those dynamics.
Right. Absolutely.
So I'm so excited. And I think the morning show is one of my favorite of so many things I've loved that she's done. This is just, it's like,
Yeah. It's so well done.
it's just,
So
she has
smart.
just given us something with that character,
Yeah.
Alex, and that performance that is one of my favorite things I've ever seen her do.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that was an amazing answer. If we weren't excited, I cannot wait for Jen Aniston to make her debut on the Drew Barrymore Show. We're just as excited about you blessing us with season 2, waking us up, sharing our households with you every day. I mean, when you think about everything that you've gone through, everything that you've done to get to this point, what does it mean to you to have the show actually come to life? You mentioned all of the hard-fought battles to get here.
Well, I was actually talking to my boss, Elaine.
Hi, boss.
I think she just left.
She's doing great. We love the show.
I call the people that I do this show with, who are my bosses and who are the people who enable me to have this job. And we put business, there because it's crucial and important, but we have friendships. There's a lot of humanity that goes on in the making of this show. And so for me, I'll never be jaded a day in my life.
Wow.
And having, lost my entire career at 13, most people have that in sort of a midlife crisis. I got mine out early, but it makes you appreciate everything you'll ever have, because when it all goes away, not to take it for granted. And I actually have a thing at the beginning of, in the premiere episode, where I take people on a journey throughout my life and the place I grew up in and my first apartment at 14 and even the institution I was in for a few years. And it's like, what it's about is, why are we supposed to pretend that our life has been devoid of bumps or scars or beautiful, interesting things that got us to that next place? Are you happy with where you are in life? What did it take to get there? And as much as I love comedy and optimism, the fact that we got a season 2 is a chance for me to take this show deeper. And so that fits in the mood board of life, which is what I think this show really wants to be. Is to cover everything we are as human beings.
I love that. The mood board of life. I love that you're digging deeper in season 2. I love that you embrace the pain as a part of your purpose, right? So often we've been conditioned to kind of minimize that on our highlight reel, on all of these social media channels. But you're saying step into it. Let's talk about it.
Absolutely. And if you want to bring on the celebratory moments, we have got to see the other side of that too. We cannot impress upon each other that it all has to look a certain way or that life isn't outside of those moments we put out publicly? What goes on the inside of ourselves that maybe even people standing right in front of us don't see?
Yeah.
We have to embrace all of that and be real about it. And that's when the good stuff's even better.
Amen. Preach Barrymore. Preach Barrymore. Season 2. Let's go. Now, you mentioned some of the celebratory moments. I think we were all celebrating when you joined TikTok, particularly because the debut was as your character from Never Been Kissed. How much fun was that for you to recreate?
I have a few really great surprises for Josie. She's Josie Geller, but let's face it, she's Josie Grossi, and I still am Josie Grossi. So we actually have a really great surprise where Josie got to be a journalist at a very important junket of a film that I think is so in keeping with the theme of what the Never Been Kissed film is about, which is how do we embrace ourselves when we feel so painfully awkward inside. And I just think popular people in high school feel that too. I think everybody does. How do we kind of bring these feelings into a universal place? But while I've been being her for the show and sort of bringing her to the forefront of my life, I thought, oh, this is a fun way to get into TikTok. And I'm telling you, I'm learning.
Yeah.
You know, when we started the show, it took a while for us to find our footing. I launched a magazine with our team that we've been working with for years on zines. Our second issue is so much stronger than our first. Being on TikTok, I'm learning and seeing like what maybe works or what's more fitting for the platform. We all have to learn. Don't beat ourselves up for kind of having the growing pains of figuring out what we want to do with things.
How to get it right. Absolutely.
I don't know what I'm doing on TikTok. I'm learning.
Please tell me you're going to be sharing some of the kitchen renovations on TikTok because you were the lead designer for your kitchen, right?
I was.
What was the biggest takeaway with that? We love your kitchen. We're obsessed with the stove.
Thank you.
Talk to me about the stove, first of all, Drew.
Well, that's a General Electric stove. It's cream colored, and it's just beautifully appointed, and it was really inexpensive. And, you know, for stoves, appliances are a lot of money. And it was nice to show off a way that I could sensibly and economically redo this kitchen. All the cabinetry was already there. So it's about repurposing and reusing. And, you know, remember, when we build these kind of expectations of what we want something to look like, it's never going to be that mood board image. It's going to be what you have to work with. And my big theory in design is don't renovate, innovate. And that is affordable and possible and doable. It also takes a lot less time and you get more clever. So for me, what that showed me is I have hours and hours and weeks and months and years of that same kind of footage. So it's all in a bin, and we're going to start releasing it because I want to help people reinvent their room. Don't renovate, innovate. You can redo things in amazing ways, in affordable ways. And I can't wait to really put that in the forefront of social media because I've been building my arsenal of those videos and tutorials for years. So when you're doing so many things, like a show and a magazine, things start to fall by the wayside. But this has been such a passion of mine. I love design. And that, for me, is a big part of the mood board of this show. I think we've never had an experience with our homes the way we have in the last 2 years, if you're even lucky enough to have one. So our home space, our apartments, our studios, whatever it is that you're lucky enough to have, we're looking at it differently. We're feeling it differently. It's a place to feel safe and express yourself. So timing is everything, and the timing for me to show all this work I've been doing over the years on social is, it got kickstarted with my kitchen.
That's amazing. And we can get the goods. We can get the Drew Barrymore effect in our homes because you've got the paint, you've got the products now.
We make wallpapers, we make paint, we make furniture, we make art. We kind of do it all. But the truth is, you're never going to source everything from the same place.
Yeah.
So even though I have a beauty company, I love to promote brands that have nothing to do with us. We all have to lift each other up. Nobody shops one company one way. We are all diverse in our choices. So let's just share.
Yeah, I love that. And really quickly, I've got to let you go here, but Simone Biles, your Instagram post was so beautifully put. I mean, she is such a young woman of strength and character. When you talk about mental health, it's so important. And she, Naomi Osaka, they're leading the charge for this younger generation.
Michael Phelps.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you wish that you'd had those sorts of figures, not unlike yourself, when you were younger, to say, hey, it's okay to not just talk about mental health, but take a step back to take care of it?
I'm going to be really honest. I think when you hear that kind of stuff maybe coming from an actor, you might be like, well, you're an artist, you're a bit, bohemian, maybe those problems make sense. Yeah. When you hear it from an athlete, those are people that are infallibly capable. And I think athletes supporting mental health will keep an open mind for people, unlike people in other industries. And it will allow people in other industries to come to the forefront and say this is important. So I thank athletes for setting up the roadmap, because then other people can get on it.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would have been able to do that when I was younger. And I don't think we were in a place in our society to be open to that. But we are now. And these people who are building that for others are saving people's lives.
Yeah. Well, that includes you, Drew Barrymore. So thank you for the important work that you're doing
Thank
too.
you.
Via the show especially. Congratulations on season 2.
Thank you so much.
Of
I'm so,
course.
thank
We're
you.
excited.
Thank you. Thank you.